Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Pursuit. I'm Pastor Rick here, joined with Pastor Harper, and we want to get started with our discussion. But first, as always, we have an icebreaker.
Yeah. So our question today is, if animals could talk, which would be the rudest? If animals could talk, which would be the rudest?
Man, I would say this is a question that has plagued the minds of many.
Yeah.
Ever. I think I'm going to go with like how the animal look. Like, so for example, when I see the animals at the zoo,
Okay.
I feel like I'm bothering them by just being present.
I'm so sorry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if somebody came walking through your house.
Well, I would hide in the cave too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I picture the gorillas being the rudest because they kind of just sit there. Some of them are fun, but there's some of those gorillas they just kind of look over like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
I figure that
Keep on walking.
right, just keep moving, nothing to see here, kind of thing. They just kind of, at our zoo here in North Carolina, they don't seem that interested in me being there.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of rude.
Okay.
So
All
get
right.
yourself together, gorillas.
I feel like mine is more shaped by like movies rather than
Okay.
actual life.
Okay.
But for me, like a lemur, they seem like they would be the rudest, and it could just be from Madagascar. I think those are lemurs.
Yeah, they're lemurs, but I never noticed their rudeness. In
I
that
just
movie.
thought it was like funny. Like,
Yeah.
I connect with them, so therefore I just assume they're rude.
Right.
But that's what I would go with.
I definitely wouldn't turn my back on a lemur because you never know what it's going to be at.
See,
you know?
I'm telling
That's
you.
true. Things you
Yeah.
learn if you tune into The Pursuit.
Yeah.
We'll take some time right now with your group to discuss if animals could talk, what do you feel, or which animal do you feel will be the rudest? Well, as we continue through Pastor Kivett's series in the Sermon on the Mount, we're now in chapter 6, where this week we talked about prayer and fasting. And something that Pastor Kivett highlighted in both of these was the idea of this being done in secret. He talks about for when you pray, don't pray out loud and use the fancy words that or the big sounding words that the Pharisees and scribes use, but rather go and pray in secret because your Father who's in heaven hears you in secret. Yeah. And he says when you're fasting, wash your face. Don't even let people know you are fasting, but fast so that you don't get a reward from people, but rather you are your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Yeah. And the question came up, the idea of the concept is why is this so important? So we thought we would ask this of our group. Why do you feel it's so important that Jesus says that prayer and fasting, your interactions with God, should be done apart from the eye service of men?
As we continue talking about how to pray, Jesus was very clear. Don't pray like the hypocrites who also offer up these empty phrases. They use these big words, this language. They let people hear them. They're very loud. And so kind of going along with this, what is some of that pressure that we feel when we pray out loud publicly around other people? Why is there this expectation, or sometimes we feel this pressure of using big words or certain phrases or things like that? People call it like insider language, Christian language. Yeah. But what are some of those pressures? Why is that? And why is it important that we don't use that and instead that we're genuine?
Well, as Pastor Kivett preached this sermon, he actually went through the Lord's Prayer and went through it line by line, explaining what it would have meant to the first century hearer, the disciples at that time. So what we thought we'd like to do is turn this back onto you. Take some time right now as a group to discuss what part of the discussion on the Lord's Prayer this morning stuck out to you. So take some time right now with your group. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Pursuit. As always, you can watch previous episodes of The Pursuit by clicking the link provided on the screen.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss the sermon videos through our series of the Sermon on the Mount. So be sure to go back if you missed any. You can watch them again if you'd like, and also subscribe to our channel so you get these videos as soon as we upload them. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.